And once again, welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is the evening of November 16th, 2024. The Penguins just completed the back end of a back to back series with the Columbus Blue Jackets on Friday night and the San Jose Sharks here on Saturday night. And starting on Friday with the Blue Jackets, um, not good. We'll put it like that. They fall 6-2. At one point, they're down 2-0, and for once, they're the team erasing a two-goal deficit. But after they get it level at two apiece, a complete collapse all around. They give up four straight unanswered goals to wrap up that game. Tristan Jarry is back in goal for the first time.
Hasn't missed a beat.
Has not missed a beat. Yeah, he gave up, I believe, two goals on his first six shots faced, or something to
Four
that effect.
shots.
Four shots. So yeah, even better from Tristan Jarry. Um, just, I mean, if a game can describe a season, it's probably this one. Even when they fight back and get back into the game, they still collapse and cost themselves what should be a game. In reality, a game they needed to win outright, and they did. They fall 6-2, and just yeah, it was a Penguin game, like we've seen so many times this year, and um, just I mean, so much of what has gone wrong this year went wrong in this game, and the
Hmm.
Penguins just yeah, it was just it's a game we've seen many times this year.
Yep. Very like all the check marks are there. Whatever the bingo card slots were all there. You had Jari in his first start, which I feel like in recent years would be a much bigger story that Jari's back in net. But I just don't think a lot of Penguins fans have a ton of faith in Jari
No,
anymore.
I don't know if Jari has faith in Jari.
I don't think Jari looks. He looked cooked. I felt like his body language after those goals uh, just wasn't great. And God, you know, it's one of those weird things. I'm not in the NHL. I'm not an elite hockey player by any means. I'm not a goaltender, but like those are goals that like I feel like typically you get a save. And Jari, his first shot that he faced in the NHL's coming back blew by him, and
Yep.
that's not good. That's not a good
No.
sign.
No.
And then just a couple shots later, you're in the hole 2-0, and the game hasn't even worked its way too far into the first period. So tough way to start. You need a save, and that's not good. And then the team around him. I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg type of scenario. I don't know if those kind of deflating goals lead to the collapses that you see the Penguins uh, just let up defensively. Eric
Mm-hmm.
Carlson was doing Eric Carlson things out there. Uh, Robbie, he's never been known for his defensive game, and we can harp on this all we want, but it's you got to talk about it. Like his defensive lapses, I feel like are almost getting worse with age. Obviously, when you grow up with a bad habit, unless you nip it in the bud early, it just kind of
Yeah.
lingers and it stays around. And I feel like Eric's 33 years old. Uh, it's just his defensive lapses are just seem to be getting worse and worse. And I don't know who you need to pair with him to make up for that, but certainly not personnel. No personnel on the Penguins can save us from the Eric Carlson lack of speed, hesitancy to pinch, all that kind of stuff. Another story kind of leading into this game that I thought, typically would get a little bit more airtime that really didn't because I think again Pens fans just don't have a ton of faith is Sam Poulin back in the lineup.
Yep.
Um, Kind of invisible that game. Didn't really like his game too much, but you could have just take that tape from that game against the Blue Jackets and burn it and throw it away or whatever. Just not a great game. Uh, One thing also that I walked away with, I don't know if you noticed this at all, Robbie, but uh, this Columbus team is not a good team and they're not trying to be a good team, but they played hard and they took it to the Penguins, and the Penguins had no problem just kind of bending to their will and being like, "Oh, you want to take center ice? Just go ahead. I'm not going to really stop you."
Yeah, I do wonder how much of what we're seeing out of Columbus this year is related back to the passing of Johnny Gaudreau.
for
I
sure.
think again they're not going to be a good. They're not a, on paper they're not a good team, but they're going to be a team that with everything that's gone on, uh, with losing Johnny Gaudreau in the way they did, that they're going to go out there and give you 110% just with him on their mind every night. But again, they're probably still going to end up losing more games than they win because
Sure.
again, they're not trying to win, but every night that is going out there on their mind, and they're going to give 100% for Johnny, and that's going to win them a lot of games, especially when a team comes in like the Penguins that have no interest in matching that intensity.
100%.
Sometimes they can give that total effort, but the talent on the other team just going to outweigh them. In a game like this, the Penguins can't match the intensity, two can't don't have the goaltending to hold up. The Jari giving up 2 goals on 4 shots, it completely wrecks your whatever your game plan was. It completely wrecks that. Um, and they fought back, and then they have the backbreaker that makes it 3-2, and they just kind of unravel from that point. It gets back in the idea of anytime the Penguins face any kind of adversity, they just fall like a house of cards. And you saw that on Friday. They went back down, and it just kind of felt like after that third goal, there was no coming back from that.
Yeah.
Columbus is, like I said, Columbus is going. I'd rather be a Columbus fan than a Penguins fan right now. I think,
Oh yeah. A lot to
just
look
from an
forward to.
entertainment standpoint, it doesn't feel like complete torture every time you probably turn on a Blue Jackets game, as compared to every time I turn on a Penguins game. I just expect it to be a miserable experience, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's obviously not what we thought coming into the season. Even though none of us really thought the Penguins were going to be threats, but I expected a better product than what we're seeing. And Friday night was honestly just the latest example of just a bad hockey team producing bad results.
Yep. I agree. Bad hockey team producing bad results. I was gonna say that another thing too that Columbus kind of has going for them is that coach Dean Evison. They made a coaching change, obviously the Babcock debacle last year,
Yeah,
and then the interim coach not being the one that they decide to go with, and then uh, that Dean Evison is a demanding coach and he's an intense coach, but whenever they scored a goal, I liked him in Minnesota, Robbie. I liked that Dean Evison character. I've listened to interviews of him in the past.
mm-hmm.
Just seems like a guy a guy I personally I'd love to play for. A guy that he's back there high fiving his assistant coaches when they score, and I love that. So it's probably not, it's hard to put yourself in their shoes, but I imagine this team, they know that they are not going to be a playoff team. They came into this season with adversities against them, but it looks like they're a team that has fun playing hard. They've got a couple tough guys in the lineup, real blue collar type folks,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that when you watch a team that, maybe isn't going to make the playoffs and they kind of know it, at least they kind of have some guys that help get the team up and motivated. They got a guy like Danforth. They've got that tough guy Olivier. Their captain who's out right now, Bruce Jenner, is one of those blue collar kind of lunch pail type hockey players that it's easy to root for and probably easy to get behind when he's dragging you into the fight. And the Penguins looking across the bench, the Pens have Sidney Crosby and a legend of the game, and it's just sometimes having those types of players in your lineup that aren't the superstars leading the way. Those guys, the Penguins have had them in the past. The Cullens, the Kunitzes, the Dupuis, the I don't know, go up and down the lineup. The Dumoulins or the Ben Lovejoys, like they just don't have any of that in their lineup. And I think that I'll harp on this till the day I die that the Penguins have needed that more than ever, and they just don't value those types of players.
They
But
certainly look like they're having more fun than the Penguins are.
certainly, yeah,
Though a lot of teams look like they're having more fun than the Penguins are when they're out in the ice, and that is a reflection of just a kind of a deep rot within the entire um, organization. I'd say more than anything. But getting back to what we were saying there, that the Penguins, I we haven't even gotten into what could have been a complete debacle on Saturday night. We'll get to that in a little bit. Um, the Penguins are just, I don't know. I saw someone, Pete Blackburn, who's an NHL kind of a NHL content creator kind of thing. He does a YouTube show, and he's a Bruins fan. And he came after the Bruins lost this afternoon. He came on. He was on Instagram or something, and pretty much said it's time for the Bruins to fire Jim Montgomery.
Hmm.
And we talked about this earlier, I think, this week. Basically, why don't we just Bruins fire Montgomery, the Penguins fire Sullivan? You just do a swap of coaches. Don't even do a trade. Do a backroom deal. We'll fire our guy. You fire your guy, and we'll just hire the opposite one. Um,
Sure.
I think if the Penguins do fire Sullivan, you have to completely clean house. I think you need the freshest possible voice. I don't think promoting Mike Vellucci or David Quinn to head coach on an interim basis does anything for this team, especially since Quinn has not been good anywhere he's gone. Now, again, he was hamstrung by talent in San Jose, but if you look at his team with the Rangers, he should have been better. Mike Vellucci has no NHL head coaching experience, as far as I know, so I would be completely fine with just
Gutting.
completely gutting the coaching staff at the NHL level. I don't think they're ready to promote their AHL coach yet. I think they want him to grow down in the minors
Yeah.
more. So I don't think that's really an option. So my option is if they are serious, again, FSG is going to want a big name, and Jim Montgomery, he has that. Yeah, he didn't win a cup in Boston, but they had great years when he was the head coach. They
Didn't
won a
he
President's
set an
Trophy.
NHL record for
Yeah, they were
wins?
the best on or by the numbers. Their 22-23 team was the best regular season team, 82 game team in NHL history. Yeah, they lost in the first round, but again,
I'd kill for a first round loss right now, Robbie.
yeah, I mean, right now the Penguins are going nowhere. They are stuck in. I don't even. They're in Park. They're not even in neutral. They're just straight up in Park right now. They're not a good hockey team. They lose this game in Columbus, and you needed something out of this week, and they're getting just nothing out of this to this point. So we can now take it. We can shift into Saturday, and the San Jose Sharks are in town, and for let's see here, for half the game, everything could not have been going better for the Penguins. Brian Rust, Jesse Puljujarvi, Sidney Crosby get uh, 3 goals. They each score a goal. It's 3-0 after about 25 minutes of hockey. Things are looking good. San Jose, again, not a good team by any, like not a good, literally not a good team by any means. Um, yeah, things are looking promising. And Tyler Toffoli scores a power play goal. And I don't know about you, Snail, but when he scored that, I was thinking I would not be shocked if this game somehow ends with the Penguins losing.
No, because it's a tale as old as time, and it's only November 16th. So, yeah, Tyler Toffoli is a good player. Sneakily, I always one of those players that was rumored to get traded to Pittsburgh for so long, so many different years. I always thought he'd look really great on Crosby's wing, but he shows up against the Penguins today on a rebuilding Sharks team. Their record 7-10-3 are the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the San Jose Sharks are 5-10-4. So
Yeah.
they're not far off from a team that is blatantly rebuilding. Scary numbers, but yeah, like you said, when that goal went in, you look at the clock and you're like, God, Robbie, there's a lot of hockey left in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
A little too much hockey left in this game because I think we all know what's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, and exactly what we thought was going to happen is what did happen. The Sharks strike twice in the third period. Our old friend Mikael Granlund makes it 3-2, and you just felt it. Tyler Toffoli gets the equalizer at 11:40 of the third, and at this point I don't even know if getting to overtime is um, means anything. I mean, what does it mean? It feels like nothing. You get a point. You need 2 points, but it's just the fact that this is how we got here, blowing a 3-0 lead. It's now the seventh time in 20 games this season that the Penguins have blown a 2+ goal lead in a game. Yeah, they do hang on to get it to overtime. Crosby gets a couple chances in overtime. Mackenzie Blackwood, who is still in the NHL, denies him a couple times. And then we get to a shootout where the Penguins finally uh, prevail in a shootout. Um, Crosby, Beauvillier, and Malkin all score. Granlund and William Eklund scored for the Sharks, but Alex Nedeljkovic stops Alexander Wenberg to get the win. And it's a win, but it feels like a glass half empty kind of win just because this is a game that never should have gotten to this point.
No, it shouldn't have. Like, I don't care where the Penguins really necessarily are at standing wise. The personnel should be able to just dummy the opposition. This team isn't even trying to necessarily win this game, and you have to go deep into the shootout, extra shooters, extra innings in the
Yeah.
in the shootout to get a win, and it wasn't really even pretty then. I thought they had a couple of good chances in overtime. Sometimes I don't know about you, Robbie, but sometimes, especially today, when I was watching overtime and it was Carlson, Raquel, and Sid out there, is there any? Can we just put Carlson as a right winger?
I mean, is it really any different than what they do most? What he does most of the other time? And
Well,
not
maybe
really.
if we put him at wing, there'll be an actual defenseman back there instead of.
Yeah,
That's my only
fair.
thought is then there's room for actually someone who plays defense on the ice if we just move him up to forward. But
Yeah,
yeah, I agree, man. It shouldn't have gotten to this point. We'll take the 2 points in the win, but God, just looking at the weekend review, I think you had said your hopes for the team was to get 5 points out of the next 6 points available,
yeah,
and they get three.
yeah. So
So
I mean, I was banking on a win against either Detroit or um, Columbus. I got neither. An overtime loss to the Red Wings, and then just a flat out uh, blowout against the Blue Jackets before hanging on to a 3-0 lead. Um, or wasting a 3-0 lead and hanging on in a shootout to get a win there. So we very easily could have been 2 points out of six, but it's not going to be good enough. And next week's going to be absolutely brutal.
oh
Tampa,
no.
Tampa Bay, Winnipeg, Utah. The Winnipeg and Utah being another back-to-back set. The only saving grace is they're at home. Will that matter? Probably not. But yeah, that's what we're facing next week. And then after that, Vancouver is in town. So it's not getting. This was the easiest stretch of pretty much the rest of the month. And now you get into Tampa Bay, who always gives the Penguins trouble. Um, the Jets, who are the best team in the NHL, and then the formerly Arizona Coyotes, now Utah Hockey Club, on Saturday for their inaugural visit to Pittsburgh. So, yeah, not good. Week coming up, it could get very ugly. I don't know what the answer is at this point. It just feels like this team is, regardless of the trades they make, call ups they make, it's stuck in what they are. They are what they are until a change is made um, to the coaching system. And
Agreed.
yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough slog um, until something is done because it feels like they got nothing. There's no juice, and they just have to find a way to, I guess, keep their heads up because it just sometimes feels like um, they're going nowhere. They're just completely stuck on like an island with
Oh,
no
they're
help.
just such a
Yeah,
victim to their bad habits. Like
yeah,
whatever
always.
this whatever this system that they've been coached up on and worked at one point, but I feel like I'm going crazy this year trying to like think about why do they give up so many odd chances? And it it happened slowly over. It's like a progressive disease with this team. I remember against the Islanders in a series, it started to happen, and then it's in the playoffs, and then the next year they were decent in the regular season. I think that was the COVID year, and then against the the Habs in like that weird COVID bubble,
Yeah.
it was like a big theme that year, and then I remember that year that they made the playoffs last against the Rangers. They were in the playoffs and they were playing that run and gun like they'd get a goal, give up a goal, get a goal, give up a goal, and I don't know. And then 2 years after that, it's just been it bled into the regular season more and more, and it's just caught up with them. And now it's an every single night. I swear there's a clause in someone's account that says if the Penguins give up at least 3 goals a game, someone gets money because these guys are addicted to giving up at least 3 goals. It
They
happens
are.
every game.
They are.
Um, I think that they're a victim of these bad habits perpetuated by a system that no longer works. I don't even know if it works in the NHL anymore. I've been curious if the NHL has passed Sullivan by, if he's still stuck in 2016 and he's gone mad with power, thinking speed, 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 forecheck, 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 where I just don't know if that works anymore. There's been a lot of successful teams that have come up from the doldrums and won and then gone and maybe are already on the way out that have, like I think about like the Blues and the Colorado Avalanche and Vegas and Florida. These guys, I don't know. It's just I look at what success looks like, and it's so different from what the Penguins used for success back in 2016-17, which was all a lot of kudos went to Sullivan for his system that he's implemented. And yeah, I don't know, Robbie. You go back to those teams, and it's not like you had the fastest players. Kunitz wasn't just wheeling out there. Eric Fair wasn't super fast. I think you had veterans that were efficient and quick thinking that made the game look fast. I don't necessarily know if the Carl Hag. I don't know. It's just you need to get younger. You need to get good players. I get all that, but um, my point is like I really think that it has to do with this system the Penguins are being coached on. Something's not equating, and you're seeing the result every single night with that the team the Penguins are playing at least posting 3 goals a night. They can score goals. They're actually scoring this year. The big boys are producing, and you have the depth chipping in, and you've got puck movers on the back end that can create offense, and you've got 3 goaltenders of whom all of them seem to suffer a similar fate. I think the best goaltender this year has been Yoel Blomqvist, and he's in the AHL right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I think it has to do with the coaching, sadly, as well. That's the only thing that I can really logically think of that if it changed, maybe you could get a different result out of this team. But until FSG and Dubas decide to work on something like that, I think I'm just going to be getting the let's just trade Sullivan for what's his name, Montgomery
Jim Montgomery. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
or Quenneville.
yeah. Joe Quenneville. It should be mentioned that tonight against the Sharks there were one NHL debut and one Penguins debut. First, the NHL debut, 2022 first round pick Owen Pickering makes his NHL debut in front of the home fans. Gets an assist on the Jesse Puljujarvi goal, so he gets his first point. He skates 13 minutes and 40 seconds of ice time. Honestly, thought he was very good.
Me too.
Matt Grzelcyk, I mean, if you can get him out of the lineup permanently for Owen Pickering, that would be fantastic. And then for forwards, Vasily Pominarev makes. I got it.
It's Ponomarev. It's 4
Ponomarev.
syllables.
Yes, Ponomarev. Makes his Penguins debut. No points, but I thought he was extremely effective
I
in his
love that kid.
limited
I like
ice
how
time.
that kid looks.
Yeah, he was causing issues for the opposition in every zone. I'd like to see him. He only got 8 minutes and 40 seconds of ice time. Would love to see that number bumped up next game against the Lightning. I really liked what he brought to the table. He was a part of the Jake Gensel trade last year with the Hurricanes. Really liked the game he brought. So I'm very excited to see both of those guys uh, hopefully back in the lineup on Tuesday because I thought they both made very good debuts. Pickering obviously had probably more expectations just because he's a former first round pick. We've been talking about him for 2.5 years now, but I loved what he brought. I thought he was really good, really smart plays, nothing too fancy. If he can develop into a Dumoulin type player, that is absolutely a home run selection then, but really smart player tonight. Big dude, just a huge presence on the ice. Uh, yeah, so both of those guys, very happy with what I've seen, and I hope to see more of that starting Tuesday night against Tampa Bay.
Agreed. I thought that third line looked really good. I didn't know Drew O'Connor could play the middle ice so well. But I thought Drew O'Connor had a hell of a game. I just think Drew O'Connor's a good hockey player. Like I think he's turned into a really good Swiss Army knife. I don't need him to be cemented in the top six. I don't need him to be cemented in the bottom six. Puljujärvi looked great too. I love that third line right now of O'Connor, Puljujärvi, and Ponomarev was getting some shifts with them, and then at times it was also there was someone else getting a shift with them. I think I don't think they kept that third line completely intact the entire game, but I liked it. They had jump. They're working the puck down low. Drew O'Connor's been learning from Sid how to play along the boards. Puljujärvi's just so fast and such a big body. He can hit. I love that third line. And I had a little bit of like an epiphany of just like, dude, just let the kids play. Like just get if we're gonna be losing every game and trying to, and taking bad teams into overtime hoping to get a point, just let the kids get shifts like at
Oh,
this point.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just let them at least it was exciting, and at times it sucked that they blew the lead, but it was fun to watch these guys compete. um, in a lot of ways, they're playing tonight against former first overall pick Macklin Celebrini. I think his name is like Ryan Leonard, or no, not Ryan Leonard, Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith. Yeah.
Will Smith is another prospect of theirs. I like seeing these young guys from the Penguins go head to head with some of the young guys on these other teams that they're going to be facing each other for the next 10, 15 years in the NHL. Uh, I, I say just let the kids run with it. I'm not really, I'm sorry. Like I love Hayes. I like that he's a character, but Matt Nieto's back in the lineup. No offense to Matt Nieto, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, have we really just been reserving a roster spot for the 32-year-old fourth line left winger
Yeah.
for like 2 years now? Like, just get a kid in there.
Yeah, I'm full on. Like, if this really goes off the rails between now and the end of November, I'm full on stripping it down, getting rid of parts for picks, and just bringing up in guys like Koivunen. Obviously, Pickering's still there. Um,
Hell, get Brunicky up.
Brunick, well, you can't just pull him out of the juniors, unfortunately.
Oh, you can't?
Um, no. I'm trying to think who else. I'm actually like, if you're going to
Bros?
be bad, I'd rather not blow a year of that your entry level contract
Mm,
on just to get shifts on a bad hockey team. Get McGroarty up, get uh,
bros.
Bros, get Blomquist up. Um, yeah, just get these young
Boris.
guys. Bring up Boris Kachuk, why not? Even though he's actually younger than I think we think he is. Um, just we're not going to sleep until we get at least one Boris Kachuk game with the
For real.
Penguins and Boko Imam
Yes.
as well. I actually thought
Boko.
Boko Imam might be up for the Capitals game, but I think on a back to back they probably didn't have the. We're going to try to make that move on a back to back, but I think you'll
Oh,
see him for like a
man.
Flyers game or something like that at some
I'd
point.
love to see it.
But yeah, I'm all for getting the young guys run, get them some ice time at the NHL level, um, because this team isn't going anywhere. I feel like it's only going to get worse before it goes better, unless they fire the coach and they start just playing better hockey. Um, yeah, I'm all for just stripping down the parts, trading guys that can be traded, and getting some of these young guys NHL experience.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, if they're leaning into it, why not really lean into it. But
Yeah.
I did see Dubas put out a thing that he's not just like trading for picks right now. He wants to trade players for players, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm Dubas is this season is wearing on me, so I'm getting frustrated just as a fan with Dubas. Like I don't know. The Gensel trade was better in hindsight than I think we felt in the moment. Um, but I just don't know if I'm in the mood for those kinds of moves right now. I'd almost like a definite message regarding some trades where it's picks and definitely like in the future type trades.
Hmm.
Or like if you're gonna really do like a player for player trade, just like do a good old blockbuster old school hockey trade, like big name in, big name out type of deal. That's where I'm kind of
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
personally, but just as a fan, from a fan perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that, and that's not easy to do, but it's definitely more entertaining um, from a fan perspective. Absolutely.
I was looking here. I was checking out the Wilkes-Barre Scranton lineup here, and where was it? Boris Kachuk still haven't hasn't scored a goal since that first time we read it off, and Rutger McGroarty's up to 2 assists now with a goal, 3 points -5. So um, yeah, I don't know. I'm for letting Rutger still marinate a bit. Are we nervous about Rutger?
Not really. I don't really concern myself too much with like a 19-year-old
Is he only
right now.
19?
19 or 20, yeah, something like that.
Okay, I guess yeah. When 19, yeah, he was just in college,
Yeah, he came. He was actually going to go back to college before the Penguins traded for him.
but he wanted to go pro. That was the whole issue, right? Like he wanted to get a shot in the NHL. Isn't that why he supposedly
Yeah, I don't.
wanted out of
Again, I don't know if
Winnipeg?
he wanted to play in Winnipeg exactly, either. So he flexed what little leverage he had, and ended up uh, with the trade to the Penguins. So yeah,
I don't know why, but that trade sometimes I still worry about it a little bit. I was confident for a while, and I think I was hoping Rucker was going to go light up the AHL, and the fact that he's not has me a little bit worried. But
yeah,
yeah, he can burn a year. I'll be
yeah, oh,
fine.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so next week it's a Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Tampa Bay, Winnipeg, Utah, all at home. Um, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see
Strap in.
what they can do. Yeah, strap in because it could get ugly quick starting on Tuesday night. But yeah, as for us, we'll be putting out a tweet for the mailbag on Sunday. So pay attention to that. Monday we'll record a full mailbag episode since the Penguins have a little time off before their next game. So I have nothing else to really add on these two games, Snail. So if you have anything, go ahead and give us what you got.
I have a question for you, I guess, Robert,
Yeah.
just for conversation's sake. I guess Jari's going to get probably 2 out of the next 3 starts.
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
If he's a gas can over these next 2 starts, and I when I say a gas can, I don't mean the Penguins just lose. Like I'm
Yeah,
talking,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking 2 goals on 4 shots again in the first period, letting in the first shot he faces type deal. Um, what do we do with Tristan Jarry? Do you send him? Do you get Blomqvist back up? Do you leave Blomqvist down there and just hold on to Jarry so that if we want to tank, you just put Jarry in net for the rest of the year and break his spirit completely? And I mean, like, what do you do if Jarry is just almost borderline unplayable coming up?
I saw somebody say on, I believe, Twitter that if he is just bad, just Jack Campbell him.
And in which case in what Jack Campbell case was that where they send him down to the AHL for the rest of the year,
Basically, yeah.
where you save what like $1 million on his
If
contract
that,
and
yeah. If I
he's
don't
gonna
even know
be
the Jari
balling
might
out.
even be. I don't even know exactly what the numbers are, but just bury him down there, take your loss, and let Blomqvist develop.
Okay, I don't mind that play at all because I think he's probably untradeable.
I mean, the worse he looks, the whatever trade value he has just continues to to drop. So I don't know anybody that's going to take that contract and give you. I mean, it's not even about getting anything, just getting off the books. I still don't know if anybody's just going to straight up take that contract.
I always wondered about Vancouver because I don't know if Thatcher Demko is ever playing hockey again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Wasn't Jari a Rutherford pick?
I believe he was, yes.
I don't know. I think Demko just started practicing hockey again after the playoffs last year, and he's never gonna heal from this ailment he has. Jari's a Vancouver kid. I love drawing these conclusions in my head, just connecting these little dots and being like, it makes sense. He's gonna, if Demko can't come back this year, they're gonna need another goaltender, and Shelovs and whoever that other feller is that they got over there, if they want to make noise in the playoffs, they're going to need a goaltender. Get Jari in there and have Tocchet build up his confidence in the locker room, and I don't know, see what happens. But that's such a long shot. It's ridiculous. I'm even airing this out on the podcast. That is a
Fair,
true conspiracy theory.
fair, fair, fair.
But anyways, hopefully that's not the case. What if Jari just returns to form? He gets two shutouts and shoves it right up my you know what.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be fantastic. I mean, anything positive about Jari now um, would be good. But I have no faith that he's going to be able to do that.
Do you think Sid or do you think Gino ever gets pissed at Jari when he sucks? Do you think they ever get frustrated with him?
Oh, they have to. Yeah, you keep a straight face for interviews and stuff, but it has to be just incredibly blood boiling to watch your goaltender continually do that, especially on nights where the Penguins don't play a bad game. It has to be incredibly frustrating. They just won't say anything to the camera.
You would think so, man, because sometimes I wonder how they keep it together, because I'd be a snap show out there. I feel like I'd be like mixing
Yeah, I
everything.
don't know. There's sometimes I wonder how they don't like break their stick over the crossbar and just start going off on their goaltender. But that's why they're professionals and we're behind uh, cameras breaking down the game.
Well, I don't know. There were times where some goaltenders you'd see if someone gets in the way of their vision or something, they give them like a nasty look, like a dirty look to them, and it's like I don't know. It'd be hilarious if Jari let in a complete muffin and you just see Sid looking back, just giving him the like what
Glare.
gives.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's when you know things would be bad if Sid broke character like that mid game.
Oh, dude, if he breaks character, then you know that, yeah, things are really falling
Things are
apart.
bad. Yeah. Well, Robbie, that's all I got for this one. Looking forward to the mailbag Monday, though.
Yep.
Be good to hear from our listeners again. It's been a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. So look out for that tweet to go out, guys. Drop your questions there. We will break them down on Monday. And then the Penguins are back in action starting Tuesday. So for Snail, I'm Robbie. We'll talk to you guys next week.